So in this week's episode, we sit down with Cal. Cal is from the north of Ireland. He's a former events planner that made the move to Australia and got a job in FIFO. We also wrote an ebook on how to get a job in FIFO. So if that's something that you're interested in, the link is in the description below. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Cal, so where did it all start for you, right? So what was school like for you growing up?
Yeah, school was sweet, mate. Went to a school in Lisburn called Wallace. It was always good. Was big into the rugby. Started playing rugby whenever I was in school, and yeah, it was pretty normal up sort of upbringing, really.
Yeah.
The whole like event kind of like events, promotions, events kind of stuff happened in school. I got hired just for like a big promotion nightclub kind of company whenever I was like upper sixth, really, and I became very good at networking and like took to it very well, and I was just always very sociable and chatty and sort of found it easy to like bring people to like get people down to this big club. People from Northern Ireland that are like my kind of age will know it was called Knee Deep in Eldovino, a big club there. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was sort of like the first like big like student kind of night where like it was sold out for months and months and months, like just every single week on a Thursday. And I sort of found I got like really well networked because I played rugby for Ulster schools. So I played
Yeah.
rugby all through school. So whenever we were playing, whenever we had the Ulster schools thing on, it was like all the sort of like rugby guys from all of the main schools all over Belfast, and then I was like their go-to person essentially, really, like whenever they were
Yeah.
wanting to come down to this nightclub and like get them friggin' like birthday tables and bottles and Q skip and guest list and all that kind of stuff. So my network like grew really quick because I just became like the go-to person for all these different people that were like wanting to come into nightclub kind of stuff. And I was just run like with the club that I was working for, or the brand I was working for, Knee Deep, the top guest lister got a free bottle of vodka and mixers every single Thursday, and I won that like every week. So I was coming down in from school. So it was on a Thursday night, and there was a many of Thursday night that I like went down, and I was like meant to be in school Friday morning. So I would have went down with a couple of mates, even though we had school, and free bottle of vodka, free mixers, and you're just loving life, just being a wee social butterfly, running around like a blue ass fly.
Jesus.
It was class. It was class. Like it was really good fun. So that was like my first kind of like introduction to
Yeah.
like going out and stuff like that. And like yeah, so around like 18, and yeah, but then to get in like doing all of that club stuff, it was like so sort of like down. It suited my like personality, and I loved doing it. And it was like sort of the like face around town. If that sounds a bit stupid, probably, but like it was. I was well known, and you just sort of got to go to all these like cool parties and all girls, and it was yeah, it was fun time. But yeah,
And
upbringing was dead on. Upbringing was good.
yeah. How did you find out about like the nightclub and the event space? Like, did someone just approach you, or did you see an opportunity and you seized it, or what happened?
Is what one of my like, so we sort of have like family friends, and we call them our cousins, right? They're called
Yeah.
the presses. And the girl in that family, she's 1 year older than me. She started working for that nightclub as like a hostess, as like a dancer, like a table service girl. And then
Yeah.
like I've always just been super like flat out, super like buzzing and energetic and sociable. And she was like, "Cal, like you'd be friggin' perfect this, you'd be perfect this." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" But before I started working, like this is whenever I was like 17, so I had to get like fake IDs and all, and sort of someone else's ID just to get going. And then I met the owner that then became my business partner, Rory. I met the
Yeah.
owner, and he liked what I was about, and he's like, "Yeah, you're full of beans. You're wanting to learn. You've got all the like sort of attributes of like someone that could like go far in this kind of thing." And then whenever I became like whenever I give it more effort, and I then became 18 in my upper sixth year, it was then like yeah, I fell into it quite well. It was fun, and I was just from going out, and then like because Belfast like isn't really that big. You've got like all the sort of like main like local schools that I was friends with like a lot of the people, and you're sort of just going out on having nights out, good music, loads of people, getting free
Yeah.
drinks and stuff, and it was just all chaotic, mate. So it was it was class.
Living
It
the
was good
dream.
fun. We actually
But
we actually had a couple of staff parties down to the right venue.
yeah, yeah, in sorts,
Yeah,
like
yeah. So we had a couple of staff nights out down to the right venue, and we had a couple of ones up to Kelly's as well. And yeah, just like all of our staff, like all on the bus, is mixture of like sort of 18 to like 25-year-olds or whatever, and everyone was just all like good mates, and everyone just like started working for that brand Nate was telling you about, and yeah, sort of just evolved and got bigger, and all was good. But yeah, childhood was sweet, mate. Like enjoyed rugby. That sort of led me on to nightclub stuff. Then that sort of led me on to like networking and being sociable and like getting in like a promotion-y kind of like advertising brain. So
Yeah.
how all this TikTok stuff is like kicked off is probably like been always sort of been doing like online-y kind of stuff and like sort of trying to like get people to do things like online and sort of being like a bit of a like personality, I would say. But yeah, so that's
Cool.
sort of what my childhood was like.
Happy days. You're the man to go to. But
Yeah.
then so once you finished school, you went to Ulster University. What did you study and why did you decide to take that course?
Yeah, so Ulster University was actually the second university that I went to. So my uni
Okay.
career is not that like traditional. So I went over whenever I was finishing school. I was doing for my A levels. I did geography, I did technology, and I did PE.
Yeah.
So because I played sport, I for like representative level, like if I played Ulster schools, I got like automatic A star in PE. And then I did geography and technology. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to go to uni. And then that girl that I
Yeah.
was telling you before, like the family friend, she was going over to uni in Newcastle upon Tyne. So like, so me and her were all like, grew up together. Like we literally like my mom and dad and their mom and dad are like best friends. So we call them our
Yeah.
cousins, but like they're not our cousins. And so Katie is her name. Katie. She went to Newcastle University, and like she like from doing all the nightclub stuff myself, and she was doing it as well. She then did the exact same thing over in Newcastle, and I went over to visit her a couple of times in Newcastle upon Tyne whenever I was like upper sixth, and she was in for her freshman year at uni, and it was like, fuck, it was mental. It was so good, and I was like, I was like, I don't care what I'm doing, I don't care what I need to do, I'm coming to uni here. But I ended up like deciding to study geography, right? Don't know why,
Okay.
because like I was interested in geography a bit. To I liked all the like physical side of geography, like volcanoes and like erosion and rivers and all that kind of stuff. Hated all the birth rate and death rate, fucking social shit that you had to do as well. Thanks for awareness as well. That's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, work away.
Yeah, exactly. Then went over to Newcastle, did exactly the same thing as I did in Belfast. Like started working for an events company over there, and because I sort of had like the idea of what I like how to do it. Whenever I was like, as soon as I landed over in Newcastle, I did exactly the same thing. Just got loads of people to these nightclubs and networked and sort of became like a well known for just being a party animal and wreckhead and friggin' sessioner and loving life. And so that was geography. I was like your stereotypical like waster student that was just over there to party, didn't really give a fuck about uni at all. I knew that you only needed 40% to pass your first year, and I was like, frig, if you freaking spell your names. Yes, but if you spell your name right, you'll get 40%. So the main focus was just going out and networking and having crack in my uni year. And then at the very end of that geography year, I still passed the year and all, but like it was like shit I didn't even care about. And like at the very end, like your lecturers were like, right, Cal, you're about to go into the second year. Like if you're hardly ever a class, like if you're not enjoying this and you're not wanting to like pursue this, like there's honestly no point you doing this in second year because it's going to get way harder. You're going to need to devote way more time to it. So like I see that you do all this like nightclub promotion kind of stuff. Like why don't you try and like sort of weave and like do some kind of degree in that. So then I switched and did a communication and public relations, so a communications and PR degree over in Northumbria. So I had 2 fresher years in Newcastle.
Mayhem.
Which yeah, I mean mental. So good. I actually haven't even spoken about this in ages, as well. So it's cool to get chatting about it. So yeah, I switched over and did that communications degree in Newcastle, and then I was able to move back home. Or pretty much my boss. Well, sorry, he was my boss, Rory, who owned the brand Knee Deep. He was like, whenever I left, he was like, I'd love you to come back, and me and you can be partners, and we'll build brands together and work on this and that and other. And I was saying like, I'm over here in Newcastle, like I've got like a couple of more years uni ahead of me. And he's like, right, well, if you come home and you do your degree alongside like us working together and us like building brands and building events and promotions or whatever, then I'll make you like my sort of side man, like sidekick kind of guy that like sort of, yeah, and we can just sort of start working together. So I then moved back to to Belfast. Started living with him, and then started that communications degree part time whenever I got back to Belfast. So I was doing uni. I was doing that communications degree part time in Ulster University, while I was like focusing on all the events and the promotions and building brands and doing all that. So it took me six years to finish uni. So I had a first year geography, then first year communications. Then I went back to Northern Ireland and did 2 second years and then 2 3rd years of that communications degree. So yeah,
Jeez.
that was, I don't know, mad.
Metal. But here, look, and the brand, like the events business, like, did it kick off, like, and did it
Yeah, I mean,
did it
it's
do well?
flying. So if anyone's listening to the Northern Ireland, like, I mean, I still get little messages in my TikTok and all being like, bring back Knee Deep. Right? There's another big brand that we did called Disco, and it was in like a popular spot in Belfast City Centre called Filthy Big Nasties. It's closed down now, but like whenever we ran disco in there, it was all sort of like house techno-y, kind of like disco-y, soul, like jazz kind of music. Well, nah, not jazz. It was like techno, like going out ravey music. I mean, it was like, see, for our first 2 years, we were literally a full house, mate. But like full house, which is maybe like 500. It's either 550 or 600 people. Full house, but like an hour and a half of opening. We'd have a big queues down the street, and it was mayhem, mate. It was class, so good. We booking different DJs and see to like come. I enjoyed it. See to like come up with like the brand concept, or maybe me and a couple of other managers, or like Rory, the owner, like all coming up like this kind of concept. Like, right, we've got an idea. We want to go into this venue. Want to be targeting these kind of people. Want to do this kind of music. What? Let's brainstorm and bounce ideas of each other, and it would just like start in an office, and then you'd market it online, get all the staff behind it, and push it out, and then it'd be sold out full house, and you're just like, fuck, this is class. Yeah, the event is sweet, man. It was good. It was very, very fast paced, very dynamic. You could like sort of map out your entire whole year. Like, you just knew knew like the very, very first one was half term, which was sort of like February. Then you would have Valentine's Day. Then you would have Easter. Then you would have can't remember it now, but it was like sort of like the end of exams, and there was like freaking freshers, and there was Halloween, and there was Christmas. Like, you could sort of follow these big spikes. So we book DJs and have all this. Man, it was mental. It was class. So it was so good.
How does that work, right? So, like, does a venue kind of reach out to you and say, "Hey, we want you to run this event space," or do you have to reach out to venues, book the space, and then arrange everything then around it?
It's different. Okay. Like, we would describe it as like, see, because Belfast, it wasn't really that big. There wasn't really that many venues, and because Rory, my business partner, he ran Knee Deep, that real busy place that I was telling you about before. So like loads of venues wanted him to come in and like run events in their venues, because they knew that we'd be able to like put on a brand, and like when you had a big following, had an army of like staff that'd be working for us, and trying, sort of like me, just trying to get people down and trying to convince people to come or whatever. But like everyone wanted to come anyway, because like it was such a good night. It's back whenever, like, you know, everyone now is just on foot. Obviously, like, phones and all like existed, but like, say if you go back and like we're watching our like promotion videos or whatever, they look shite, because like I only really had like a good phone in my like maybe like upper 6 kind of years in school. So it was sort of that like transition phase of like going out was such a big part of your like social life. Whereas like now it's like the nightclub industry is dying, man. Definitely dying. So we were like in that we like nice crest of like it all popping off and it all happening. But yeah, to go back to your question, sorry, like it'd be all different. So you'd have different deals with all different venues. Some venues would like reach out to us, but we'd also reach out to some venues. Like, if we knew that there was a night available, or was a gap in the market or whatever, we just approach them. Like, have you ever heard of Coach nightclub in Banbridge? No. It's sort of like a quite a well known club up north, and yeah, we ran a Wednesday night in there for years, like, and it was always pop, but it was like it was sort of more like country kind of. It was like nowhere near Belfast at all. So like you have different audiences, like appealing different crowds, and it was quite like scientific, like how, because you're almost like you're trying to convince people to come to a night, and to create all this like frenzy and this like buzz around like coming to a night, and like you have to come down here, and then people come, and you put up loads of photos and videos, and everyone's loving it, and it's cool, mate. It's a cool dynamic. Then you just have different deals with different venues. Some venues we'll always take like the door money, and then the club will get like the bar money, and then it'll be just be a bit of like a negotiation. Like, are they going to pay door staff, or do we pay door staff? Do we pay our till staff, or like, you know what I mean? It's just a bit of a negotiation. Like whenever you're like starting the night off, and then yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the event space is definitely different, right? So I remember being in like hanging around in Belfast like years ago, and
Yeah.
like you'd get like a coach to pick you up in Belfast and bring you to Newry. I remember going to the Palace in Newry
Right.
for like a Halloween night, and it's like mayhem. Like all these buses just arriving from
Yeah.
all over the north of Ireland into
Yeah,
Newry
man, it's
for
mental.
yeah, it's class. So you're the main man for that kind of stuff back in the
That
day.
was, yeah, back in the day, mate. Back in the day, yeah. So like running buses, and we used to run buses from Belfast up to that Banbridge venue, and then like nights whenever we went out for like staff parties or whatever, like up to Kelly's in Portrush or down to the right venue, like yeah, just buses all over the place. So we had literal we had people that had owned buses or like did sort of their own little like bus kind of deal like on the side, and we would like hire them to like do these routes to come and pick everybody up, and we put it out on big E flyers, be like, right, be at your bus stop like at this time, and this is your lift there. And it was a well-oiled machine, so it was great. It was good
Class.
crack. Really, really good fun, mate.
Deadly.
Class, yeah, class whenever I was younger. Class whenever I was younger,
Yeah.
you know.
And then what happened then, right? So you started like a printing business then as well, did you? Or was that
Yeah,
before?
yeah, no,
And was that during the event space or was it after?
so the printing, this is how COVID made well, it obviously it fucked us hard, man. It really, really fucked us hard. So
Yeah.
whenever COVID was happening, the pretty much that like maybe 6 months I would say before COVID happened, we bought a big like industrial printer because we were like doing so much promotion. We bought a big printer, and we were like, right, we're gonna buy a printer because we're sending like X amount of grand to a print company like in Belfast to do our own flyers and tickets and posters and all that kind of stuff. So we're like, right, we'll buy a big printer. We'll try and get a decent price on it. That will do all our promotion stuff, and we'll get like a couple of other venues and stuff on board, and we'll like do their stuff. So that will sort of look after itself while we can like focus on the events. And then whenever COVID, obviously we're trying to run events for hundreds of people, and we then went from like having this big empire of all these different nights. Like, at one point, like, we'd have like four or five nights a week. And Monday night we'll have Monday night would have been in Thompson's, and I called Hideout. Thompson's is like a really, really well established club in Belfast, still absolutely flying, really, really good venue. Tuesday we would have had in Filthy's. Wednesday was up in the Coach. Thursday was then back in Belfast, and then Friday and sometimes on a Saturday. So it was like you're running all these different events in all these different venues all at once, kind of thing. But then COVID fucked us so hard because like the like relief that the nightlife got was if you were a venue, you got a 10 grand grant. But because we weren't a venue, we just used venues to like run our things. We didn't qualify for any of that. So like we literally had the rug pulled out from under us, man. It really, really did. It went from absolutely flying, all was going well, to then COVID just like putting a nail in it, and then like us not being able to like be in that like pool of like getting help or whatever. So that was a real struggle. And then me and Rory, my business partner, we were like, right, well, we've just bought this big printer. Now let's like, because we didn't think COVID was going to like last that long. So our sort of thought process was like, right, we'll still stay in the office, we'll still stay working, we'll just try and sort of tick along by trying to get like printing stuff like out the door, really. But at that time, mate, like you remember what it was like companies, the promotion kind of material marketing stuff was like the first thing that they like draw back on. So we were trying to start a brand new business in like COVID times while not really knowing or just sort of just learn ourselves at the same time. So like it started off from literally nothing, man, and like we'd be working away. 1 week would get maybe 2 orders, the next week would get 1 order, the next week would get 3 orders, and it sort of then just like eventually did start compounding. But we like the plan was never to be a fully like, well, it did turn into become a fully print business, but like we were just sort of trying to stick together because we knew as soon as we were able to get a venue again, and as soon as we were able to like open the doors with nightclubs, we'd be straight in there. But that just never ever came in. We just thought it did. We thought it was coming while we were working away and had all these different ideas for different events. And then COVID just fucked us really. And then was doing the print business, but whenever it was like start like whenever I was building that, I was working for Bayprint Monday to Friday, like in the office with Rory, and then I wasn't really earning too much money, so I started doing Amazon deliveries, in the Amazon delivery vans. So I was doing that on Saturday and Sunday, and then at Rory's in the office, working for on Bayprint. So that, like the Bayprint money the Amazon money at the weekend was like really just keeping me afloat. But then Bayprint started to tick over a bit more, and things started to happen, and we started like to supply all different like venues with like like promotional materials like lanyards and key rings and like air fresheners and stuff like that. But now like Bayprint seems to be flying, and doing well. So I whenever I was doing the Amazon deliveries and working for Bayprint, I then got an opportunity to work for Lidl, the supermarket chain.
Yeah.
So I was working the early shift in Lidl. I mean, thinking back, I actually haven't even spoken about this in probably years. So whenever I was doing the Lidl early morning shift, and it started at 5, right? It started at 5 a.m. So you'd go in and like pack out all the shelves for that day. The shop opened at 8. So my shift started at 5, shop opened at 8, and I would have finished at 12 or 2. And then as soon as I finished there, I would have driven all the way down to Bangor, Helens Bay, where the print the offices, and then would have did the print business. Then was doing the Amazon deliveries at the weekend. So like that little period was just hustle, because Bayprint was sort of like just getting off the ground while I was like trying to earn money from the Amazon deliveries, and then the little stuff started to come through. But then that's sort of like after doing that for a little while, that's whenever like Australia started to be like, right, and I was getting a bit older as well. I sort of like started to think about it whenever I was maybe like 27, like 28 kind of age. And then that was like, right, now the focus is like, right, try and save money to come up to go to Australia and pack up shop here kind of thing and start that big adventure. So that's literally like my little like life story of how I got to like, right, now I want to go to Australia.
Yeah. And like, was Australia like always in the kind of always in the pipeline for you? Did you know it was something that you wanted to do, or?
Yeah, I did know. I've always been I've always had a travel bug. So like as soon as I finished my degree, I went out on my first big like travel like journey by myself. I went to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and then I went to Borneo. And then I volunteered at this like marine coral conservation place for like 3 weeks on this little like remote island, like freaking like sorting out like turtle eggs and like building this like man-made coral stuff, and like it was crazy, mate. Like you literally walk around this island, this like little deserted island. You can walk around the whole thing, mate, in about 30 minutes. And so I did that on my very very first like backpacking kind of trip, and it was just out by myself, and that was like that was my first experience of like seeing what was out there, like, and go on this big crazy adventure. Just packed a bag and away I went, and I was like, fuck, this place is crazy, this is mad. So Australia, like I've always known, like Australia's always been like a goal that like to get to, just because I knew it was like you got paid good money whatever you did, and it sort of opened the door a lot more to like other places to travel, like Southeast Asia, all down there is very very close. So Australia sort of was always on the cards, but it was more so just to keep traveling, But then whenever Australia was like more of a serious thing, or like, right, well, what do I want to do in Australia, or like how can I just to be honest, mate, it was mainly how can I make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time, so I could like continue this big travel trip. And it all probably stemmed from that very first travel trip that I went on, that little volunteering one. And I was like, fuck, this is classic. This is so good. As if I had to like go back here and start working. So I was hoping to like, right, how can I just like do this more? So that's sort of how Australia became a thing.
What was the time period between like going on your first travel trip then to kind of deciding, okay, I'm definitely going to go to Australia, to applying for the visa, and then actually making the move to Australia? Like, how long did it take you to do that?
Well, that very very first travel trip was whenever I finished uni. What fucking year did I finish uni? It was, so I went on that trip. I was like, right, that was unbelievable. That was class. Yeah. And then I came back. I was working away doing all the nightclub stuff, and then I went on another big trip, which was the Philippines and Singapore. That was like my second big like travel trip away by myself. And then came back, and then was getting into the swing of all the nightclub stuff. It was all flying, so like I wasn't really looking at it that way. But then like whenever COVID happened, I was like, whenever things started to open up again, I was like, right, now is maybe like the time to start thinking about it. And then was just doing a lot of research and stuff. But because I sort of knew, and I had all these businesses and stuff like with Rory and with Rory and like with other things, I needed to like have like a good grace period to like sort of do as much research as I could. So I literally had, mate, it's probably like not what a lot of people do, but I had like my flights and visa booked. I would say, mate, probably 8 months like in advance, I would say. So like being like,
Okay.
right, I know like next year, I left in April time. I left Ireland in April. So I was like, right, next year in April, I'm going to be going to Australia. So I need to like focus on that. And like that's like
Yeah.
that's the sort of North Star. But you're asking there about the visa, mate. The visa is a simple process. Honestly, like I got, you can apply for the working holiday visa yourself if you're from Ireland or the UK. Anyone under 35, like you're able to get that working holiday visa, the 417, and it's easy to get, man. You just have to sort of like tick a couple of these like credential boxes. One of them is you need to have 5,000 Australian dollars in your bank account, which sort of equates to like £2,800, something like that. You need to have a passport from one of the countries that's eligible. Ireland and the UK is one of the countries. But like since I submitted it and then they actually got it back, it's some people it can take like a long time. Some people can be waiting for like 2 months for the visa to come back. Mine literally came back to me in seconds. I actually thought it was like a confirmation email saying my visa had been submitted, but like I submitted it and was like expecting to sort of be waiting for a couple of weeks or whatever. But I got an email straight away again that says granted, and I was like, oh fuck! Now we're proper. Yeah, we're proper on. It was like cemented.
Yes.
And I was like, right, get the flights booked, get it all going, and that was sort of how it all became a reality, really.
Happy days. And do you do like it's just through like the Australian Embassy website that you apply for the visa?
Yep. So
you don't have to do an interview or anything like that.
No, I didn't. So if anyone is wanting to like look into getting the visa, just know you can 100% do it yourself. See these like visa migration agents that like prey on people that like don't know what they're doing. Like you can honestly just do it yourself. I have a couple of videos up on my pages to sort of try and like warn people. Like if you get reached out by like a visa migration person, tell them to get fucked, because they're gonna be doing the exactly same thing that you can just do yourself, but charge you way more for it. They'll take it. So the website is me.homeaffairs.gov.au. So immi.homeaffairs.gov.au. That is like the official Australian immigration website, and you can just go on that and just type in working holiday visa in the search bar. But like these we like scammer people are like preying on people, so they've made websites that look very similar to the actual official website, but it's not the official website. So like, you know, if people like just need to be a wee bit careful that if you're trying to get the working holiday visa, just go on to the official immigration website and do everything yourself. The application process could probably take you half an hour, 20 minutes. You have to upload passports, you have to upload like proof of friggin' all these IDs, just all the general shit that you would have to get for for a visa. But once it was sent away, yeah, I got mine back in a couple of seconds. Like,
and is there a cost then to apply for the visa, or is it free? Or
there's cost. From memory, I think it's like fuck. I don't even. I think it's
less
like
than £100, would it be? Or
nah, it's more like £300, maybe like £340, maybe 340. £340. Yeah, my girlfriend's doing some fact checking here.
Thanks very much.
So yeah, so £340, which equates to like it's like $600 and something dollars. Yeah, it's like $600 and something Australian. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how much it costs you. And but then obviously you'll need to get your flights on top of that and all that kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, the whole process to move over is a bit pricey, like, but it's worth it. Like, it's worth
it. Was it hard to get accommodation then when you did kind of make the move out there, or like were you living in hostels for a while?
Yeah. So at the very beginning, I started off in hostels. I was in hostels for a good while, just because I didn't. Obviously, a big thing for people to do is also do house shares. But like at the very beginning, I was like, right, I want to meet people. I have no idea. I'm just going to get into a hostel. So I was in a hostel for probably a good month, I would say. Like it took me a month to get that FIFO job that we'll go on to speak about. But it probably took me like a month from landing to get the job, and I was in hostels the entire time. And then after I had my first swing up on the FIFO site, then my first like week off was back in that same hostel. And then after that, I then stayed in a friend's house that I was super lucky at that point. I had a friend that I was able to keep in with him on my weeks off, so it was very good. But yeah, most people start off in hostels, and then like as you sort of get working and as you find little groups and that, because everybody, man, there's so many people over here from all over the world. Like everybody is in a similar kind of position, and people will team up and get house shares and flat shares and rooms, like rent rooms together and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably similar to Dublin, and like uni students now, like coming over, people will just like rent rooms and stuff like that. And yeah, so it was hostels up until the job. Then I found a friend to get into. But it is like as like time's going on, it's getting harder and harder. Like Sydney and or the city on the east coast, Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, they're all expensive. Everything in Australia, man, it's like the rest of the world. It's all getting up in prices. Things are becoming a lot more like steep. And Perth is where I am. It's on the west coast, and it was sort of always known as like the cheaper kind of one because like everyone wanted to go to Sydney and Melbourne. But it's like even Perth prices now are starting to become fucking expensive. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Did you purposely head to Perth like through research that you done, or
Yeah.
did you just kind of end up there?
Yeah, no, I definitely went to Perth on purpose. So I wanted to aim for one of these FIFO mining jobs, and I knew that that to be honest, like sort of like backpedaling a bit. The whole reason why I wanted to go to Australia so much was because as I said before, I wanted to earn as much money as I could to like to like go traveling, and it was I was either going to go and do. You ever heard of commercial diving, like underwater welding?
Yeah.
So I was seriously considering looking into that because I was like in that little marine coral conservation place. I'm a diver. Every time I've been away, like on a big trip or whatever, I went scuba diving. I'm now over like probably like 100 and 110 120 like scuba dives that I've done, but like at that point I was like into diving and I was like, right, that's a serious like job, like career. I could like stop doing all this nightclub stuff and stop working for Amazon and whatever, and like start like follow that as a career. So there was two places that you could do it in the UK. There was one in Cornwall and there was one in Scotland. And the one in Cornwall, the whole process to it was very costly and it was going to take a long time. So that was like I was seriously considering like I was researching that and like looking into that. And then this FIFO thing like kept coming up. I could just research like high paying jobs for like low skilled high paying jobs. That underwater welding thing was one. You just had to do that course. And then the FIFO mining thing came up as well in Australia. And then they started like to researching more and I was like, fuck, I probably could give that a go. And then I was like, I always wanted to go to Australia anyway. So maybe I could just that could be the plan. I could go to Australia, get working FIFO, then I could have all this money to go and travel with, which is sort of how it worked out.
That underwater welding job looks pretty dangerous, right? And you're in decompression chambers for a while as well,
yeah. So the decompression chambers is called saturation diving. Those boys, like, it is ropey. It is very, very, very ropey, but you get paid very, very well to do it. But yes, danger money, sort of similar to mining, but like I'm glad it didn't go down that route because I was like planning to go to like out to North Sea oil rigs and all, and like mate, it would have been a mad adventure, but it would have been a crazy adventure that you got paid well for, So I'm glad I went to Australia instead. So sorry to go back to your question. Yeah, whenever I was researching Australia, I knew that Perth, which is on the west coast, had way more of a opportunities for people that wanted to get into FIFO, wanted to get into mining. So that was the reason why I was going over there. So go to Perth. If anyone is looking to go to Perth and go and get into mining, Perth is the place to go. Do not go to Sydney or Melbourne.
Okay. And did you have a job before you got the FIFO job, or did you work? No, so you just stayed in the hostel and constantly worked for the FIFO job, right? So anyone that doesn't know, right, what is FIFO?
Right. So FIFO stands for fly in, fly out, right? And it's like this kind of work style essentially. Like you be working for they're over. Right. I'll go even earlier before that. Australia is super rich in like underground minerals. Copper and zinc and gold and like all lithium and all that kind of stuff. Australia is one of those heavily mined countries in the world, right? And the mining industry over here is like giant. It's so big. Australia is the biggest exporter of iron ore in the world. Iron ore is the main ingredient in steel. So any steel you see, there's iron ore in it. And iron ore obviously is all under the ground. And this kind of work known as FIFO, these biggest like mining companies are some of the biggest companies in the world. Literally, like have turnover billions of dollars every single year. And FIFO is like known as so you're for example, you're working for this mining company. They will fly you up from where you're based. I was based in Perth. They will fly you up to some kind of little regional town, some mining town somewhere in the friggin' Australian outback. In the area I went up to was called the Pilbara, and you will be living on this work site, on this big project, on this mine or whatever it is going on there, and they will. They'll fly you up there. They will pay for your food. It's almost like you're living in like a little like workers' village. You're just like a little workaround for this big like project.
Yeah.
Have you like muted? Oh, I can hear you there. I thought
No.
your microphone was muted.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you will work as one of these little workarounds for this big project. You don't have to pay for your food. You don't have to pay for your flights. You don't have to pay for fuel. You don't have to pay for coffee. Like you're up there just to work on this big project. And the reason why it's so like attractive, the money you get paid is very, very high, and also that, well, the money you can get paid is good, but you get paid so much money because you work a lot of hours in a row, right? So you're working. It's very, very long hours. You're working 12-hour shifts, and you work these things called rosters or swings. So a popular swing that people do is called a 2-in-1, where you're working for 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Another popular one, which is the one that I did, it was called a 3-in-1. So it was working for three weeks in a row and then having 1 week off. And while you're up there, mate, like you can literally like not spend a dollar whenever you go up there, unless you're like, if you're not into drinking, if you're not into smoking, there's a wee tuck shop where you can buy like fucking sweets and chocolates and shit like that. But like you can go up there, mate, for 3 weeks out of the whole month and just work. So you have hardly any cost. And because I was like doing like hostels and stuff, I didn't have like rent to be paying. So all that money, mate, that I was like earning was just going straight into my travel fund. So it wasn't really spent. The only time I was spending money was on that 1 week off. So like you're doing all these millions and millions of hours. I was working for I was doing a 3-in-1 shift. So I was doing 3 weeks, so 21 days in a row of 12-hour shifts. And I was doing 84 hours in the week. So you're doing 84 hours for 3 weeks in a row. So you're able to sort of see how everything racks up. And if you think about back home, someone's full-time work is like 38 or 40 hours. I'm doing 84. Yeah, so I'm doing 84. So I'm doing I'm doing someone's 2 weeks of full-time work back home in Ireland. I'm doing that in 1 week in Australia while not spending money on food or accommodation or fucking coffees or water or fuel or anything while you're up there. Because the whole like infrastructure is all just to be like focused on this project that you're on. And then once your swing is over, they will fly you back to Perth on like these big like charter planes. It'll like not be commercial. There will not be people going on holiday. The whole plane will be people that are going up to work. Yeah, like some people use buses to get to work. We use planes to get to work. You're flying from Perth. The place I was in was called Parapadu, and it's about a 1 hour 50-minute flight from Perth. And then you get up there and it's like you're landed on Mars, man. As soon as you walk out of the plane, it is roasting. And then that's just your little house for the next 3 weeks. You go to a camp. Right. The camp facilities will be good, and you get your food there, you get your room there, and aircon in the room, and facilities around the camp are good. But it's almost like a glorified prison as well, because like you're up there, like you weren't allowed to leave the camp. Like you just had to be on the camp, and you were up at the crack of dawn every morning. Alarm was going off at 4 a.m. and you weren't getting back to your room until about probably 6:15 at night. And then it's like it's hard graft. It is hard graft, but like you get paid well. And I was like, me coming from not doing. You asked me there as well. Sorry, it's a long-winded answer, but you're asking me like, did I have anything before? I started the whole process, mate. Whenever I got over here, you just heard my whole background. I had no experience in machines or working or like any of that like kind of thing. I worked as like a farmhand whenever I was younger, and like I had a couple of like days on building sites and stuff like that, which I could sort of pad out my resume a bit to help me. But never have worked on machines. Never didn't know about like pumps or hydraulic hoses or friggin' anything like that. So I literally started the entire process whenever I landed in Australia. And because I had everything like pre-planned, and I had like, right, I'm going to Australia 8 months away, I had that whole time period to like research and try and figure out like how the fuck I could like get over there and like and get going. Because whenever I like sort of like started the proper, like it started to become real, and I was like telling my parents and telling friends like I'm going to Australia, and they're going like, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? And I was showing them videos like on YouTube, like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. They're like, what the fuck? You're nuts. Yeah, they're going like, there's no way. My mom was like, no way you can do that. That's such a stupid idea. No way. You're never going to get a job. You're never going to get in. You're never going to find work. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way. Yeah, exactly. So I had a whole like little game plan for like as soon as I landed, I knew I needed to do this, then I needed to do this, then I needed to do that.
Yeah.
So it was just very, very like pre-planned, and it actually worked out exactly how I planned it. I
Happy
ended up getting
days.
it. Yeah, ended up getting the job within 28 days of landing. So I landed, sorted out all the admin stuff, did all your sorting out your bank account, your tax file number, and like all just the general shit you need to do, and then it was like hunting for the job very hard, and ended up getting one.
Okay.
So
What was your
yeah,
job? What was your job in the mines? Once you were on site and you got the job, right? What was the job that
yeah.
you actually had?
So the job I had, it was called a serviceman, right? So it was
Okay.
dragged around this service truck, and I sort of describe it as like a garage on wheels, right? In my service
Okay.
truck, I had fuel, I had grease, I had hydraulic oil, engine oil, AdBlue, coolant, water, air, like just a whole little garage, but like in a truck. And then I would
Yeah.
have like a little routine where I would go around all of the machines that we had on our job, like on the site, and it was probably around like 40 to 50 machines every single day. And I had a little routine where I would like go and fill them up with fuel, and as the fuel is pumping away, I'll run around and do other grease. If anyone doesn't know about like machines or mechanic kind of stuff, I didn't either at the very beginning, but like these machines need grease in them to like work well, and because like the environment up there, mate, is dusty, it is hot, it is dry, like all like
Yeah.
the machines like get real like seized and real like fucked. So like they needed a lot of preventative maintenance is what it was called. So I'd have to like,
Okay.
get all their grease points to make sure they're all like nice and lubey and greasy and worked well. And
Yeah.
if like the operator needed top ups of like engine oil or hydraulic oil or whatever, they would just say, Cal, that needs done or whatever. And I would just pull up beside a truck, jump out, turn my compressor on, get the
Okay.
fuel on, do the grease, run around and do all my other little bits I needed to do. And then just after that was done, packed everything up and then just drove like went to the next machine and just did that all day long. And I sort of had like a bit of a method, like I knew before smoko, which is like a break. I'd
Yeah.
smoke at 10 a.m. and I knew that I had to have these like 25 machines finished by smoko. And as soon as smoko was over, I had to go to this area and I had to do like those 30, like, well, those like 10, 15 machines over there. Then I would have had
Yeah.
lunch. Then I would have did it until the end of the day. And the very end of the day, would have filled up my truck. And then that was it. But
Good
yeah,
to be
it
honest.
was
Yeah.
mental. Like you were very, very under the pump all day long, and like me coming from like no experience, talk about being thrown at the deep end. Jesus Christ, mate! I had not. See, at the beginning, mate, I was like shadowing a guy. Like I was went out with like an experienced serviceman, complete
Yeah.
legend. You call him Willie. He's one of my best mates on site. He was so cool, and he taught me like because I was taking over his role. He was going to be moving into the workshop to do more like mechanical kind of stuff, and
Okay.
he'd be doing the service truck for years. So I was sort of being his like Padawan. He was teaching me to become the new serviceman. And
Gotcha.
yeah, at the very beginning, mate, I was going, what the fuck is all this? I hadn't a clue. Hadn't a clue, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Hadn't a clue.
And
And yeah, go
did
ahead.
you have to do like qualifications or get certain tickets before you could get that job, or
You did,
did
yeah.
did you just apply for a job and they picked you, or like what happened
Yeah,
there?
so this was all like the research that I did before coming over here. I knew exactly like I knew I wanted to come over to Australia and I knew I wanted to get into FIFO. I had no experience in anything, no background in anything, so there wasn't really
Yeah.
like a direction for me to go in. So there's a
Okay.
company that helped me a lot come over, and I now like sort of work quite like closely alongside with them. They're a company called Win Win, and they're like a FIFO recruitment agency, and they like
Okay.
specialize in like their sole objective of their business is to get people into mining. People from all over the world. They will do up your resume, do up your cover letter, and like do up your LinkedIn profile and your Seek profile and like tell you what tickets to be getting and like give you a whole like sort of pathway on
Yeah.
what you need to be doing kind of thing. So I worked closely with them and they told me, right, so from your background, you did a wee bit of farming, you did a wee bit of like trade, like sort of
Yeah.
working as like a laborer, like on a building site. We reckon you should be going for a trade assistant role or a serviceman role. And then to get a serviceman or a trade assistant role, we would recommend you get these tickets. So I went and went.
Yeah.
I like as soon as I landed, I had these all pre-booked. So like whenever I
Okay.
landed, I knew exactly what I wanted to be doing anyway. So that
Gotcha.
was like the job role I was going to be like hunting for. And yeah, so but to one of the main ones for my serviceman role was a HR license, which is the same as a HGV license back home. It's like a lorry license, and you need that
Okay.
because I needed to drive my service truck. My service truck, big fucking massive lorry, like held
Yeah.
10,000 liters of diesel, and I'd probably fill that up like what you're. So I probably filled that up, maybe probably four times in a day. See, each day each day I was using around 36,000 liters of diesel every single day.
Jeez. And they have all this stuff like on site, like for you to just kind of keep filling the truck.
Yep. Yeah. So there's one of the big massive big clients over here. The whole mine, it was just like, is theirs. The whole town is like all to do with mining. You could just go up to these big fuel cells and you just fill up your truck every single day. And we're one small little outfit, and I'm using 36,000 liters of diesel every single day. See those big dozers and stuff like that, 1,200 liters every day. And you just go back the next day and they'll be empty, and you need to fill up 12,000 liters again. Some of the big, massive stuff. The biggest machine we had on site was a Komatsu 3400. It's a 340 ton digger, and like massive. It can literally, like, each bucket is 80 ton of material in one bucket. So this thing has a 5,000 liter fuel tank. So like it's mental, the numbers. And if you think that we're just one little small outfit and there's like projects going all over Australia, it's see the scale of it up here, mate. It's mental. It's crazy. It is crazy, especially coming from like so brand new, and like I hadn't a clue about anything really. It was I was going like, what the fuck is this place? This is wild.
And how long did it take you to complete the tickets? Like, was it like a 1 week kind of course you done, and then you're straight thrust into the job? Or?
Yeah. See the HR license, or your lorry license. I showed up on the morning, had never even fucking sat in a lorry before in my life, and had the ticket by like 3 p.m. So it is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so some I sort of took to it quite well, but some people like it taken a couple of goes to like do more lessons and more sort of training and stuff like that. But yeah, so that was the HR license, and then the other ones there's because the mining and the FIFO sort of like industry over here is so giant. There's training facilities all over the place. You can go and get like all these different tickets. Like you should be like trying to target a kind of like a role that you want to be getting, then find out what kind of tickets that you would need to like beef up your chances in order to get that role, and then just go and get those, get your resume all done up professionally, and then you're sort of looking as good and as golden as possible, and then it's sort of just down to you, mate, to just apply to fucking everyone and don't take no for an answer.
Yeah. And what was the interview process then like for getting the job on the mine? Did you have to go through like a 2-stage interview process, or just show up and say, here's my tickets, give me a job kind of thing?
So there was a guy. Two seconds, I turn on this aircon. It's fucking roasting in here. You got the aircon?
Yeah, okay.
So my interview now was very, very casual. So it was the guy contacted me. I went for four interviews. So after I had the resume and all like done by the professional company, so it probably only took me, mate, no joke, probably about 8 or 9 days of like solidly on the computer, calling, doing follow-up phone calls, emailing people, just being like, I'm Cal, I want a job, just got here, got all these tickets, this is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And just literally, mate, not just staying persistent and staying consistent, just not giving up until I got something. Then I had a couple of interviews. The serviceman role was one of them. And just sort of general, not like a corporate kind of interview like we would have back home. It's not like, give me an example of like a time you worked well in a team. It wasn't like that. It was like telling you about the job, telling you about the role. Yeah. Do you want to do this? This is what it is. Take it or leave it kind of thing. And I was like, yep, no, sounds good. Sounds sweet. And then that was sort of the interview process. But it's not like, it's sometimes can just be a phone interview. Like I do have an interview here in 2 days for another company. I'm hoping to get working for. So yeah, the interview process was grand, but it was way more casual than I was thinking it was going to be.
Yeah. Is it a case like where they're like short staffed, or is there like ample amount of people like looking to work in those specific jobs?
Yeah, like I since I've been over here, like whenever I come over here, like you sort of, it's definitely made out online that you can just sort of walk over here and they're literally going to hand you a high vis top and a hard hat and just get you to go to work. It's honestly, it's not like that. People make it out like it is, but it's fucking not. It's like anything. Since like COVID and all has happened, the amount of influx of people from all over the world that are now in Perth chasing these FIFO jobs. Because see, to be honest, the barrier to entry is not that high. I came over with like no experience, no whatever, did a couple of training qualifications, and just ended up getting a job within a month. So that just sort of shows you like it's 100% possible with like no experience. You just sort of need to do everything in the right way and follow the right process. But it's definitely it's saturated just with the amount of people over here, but it's still not impossible if you like do everything in the right way. It's the turnover is so high because like because of the environment and all, it is so crazy, and people have seen like all over social media like all this money you can make and whatever, but they don't actually like try and think about like what it actually entails whenever you're doing it. I mean, see, whenever I was working for like a pretty much a full year. See the amount, like there's probably a good few people that came up the site and they lasted like a day, and they were just like, "What the fuck is this place? I'm not doing this." Because it's hard work, man. Hard work, it's saturated over here with people like trying to get in, but it's definitely not impossible to get in.
Yeah. And what happens then, right? So let's say they arrive in the middle of nowhere, like onto this mine site or camp, and they decide they don't want to do it after a day. Do they have to stay there for 3 weeks till the plane goes back, or can they?
No, like the site I was on was like the camp was probably around 1,600 people. So like there's planes coming maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. So if there was a plane that like didn't leave our site, they could have like drove like 5 hours or 6 hours or whatever to another mine site, and they would have had planes. So like if someone did want to be like right, or if someone got sacked or something, they'd be gone the next day. So they would. So it's not like it's very very remote, obviously, but like it's still quite like like there's a lot of infrastructure to like just like all the roads and the camp and the airports and all. It is quite like well. Yeah, established. I would say it's not like you're literally just going out in the middle of the desert. You are, but it's like it's still like a place you're going. You know
yeah, so you don't have you're not given a sleep bag and put on the end of the runway.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait till the plane comes back.
Exactly, mate.
Grand. But you're there now. You're going into your second year, right? So life off-site then, right? So are you traveling when you're off, or have you always done like the 3-in-1, or did you do it a 2-and-2, or like, what do you do when you're not working on site?
Okay, I just did a 3-in-1 the entire time. So my goal was to obviously come over here and just to get working. So the 3-in-1 is definitely it's known over here as a suicide swing because it's like the hardest, and it's like the maximum amount of time that you're able to work on one like camp. Like if people wanted to come up and like do like a 6-week swing or whatever, like on one camp, they wouldn't be able to do that. So I wanted to work as much as I could. This serviceman role that I got, they offered a 3-in-1, which I liked. But I did have the option to do a 2-in-1 if I wanted to, but I just saw dollar signs. I just wanted to get up there, work as hard as I could, get my head down, and just slave away, mate, until I got up there. In terms of the week off, so I stayed in that friend's house that I knew from school, named Jordan, legend, me and him being like best, like good friends. He was in my rugby team and a close circle of friends like in school. So I was staying with him on my weeks off, and then weeks I would like travel around sort of a bit of like South or Western Australia, like down south, or I would go. I know a lot of people like go over to Bali. Bali's like, and Indonesia is very very close, so like a 3 hour flight from Perth to get to Bali, and then a lot of people go there on their weeks off, or just people just hang around Perth and just like chill out, like because the week off, mate, the week off flies in. It does fly. Yes, like you think, oh, you're off for a full week, which is class, but like you're dead, mate. You're dead, and you're trying to see friends, and you're maybe have a couple of nights out, and you go to nice restaurants. It's mostly just recovery, man. I was like, with my job, it was so like physically like taxing on your body. I went and got a haircut, got my beard trimmed. I went to acupuncture and a chiropractor, and I'm a physio person after every swing. So that was just like my like routine on my like first day back: haircut, beard trimmed, and chiropractor, acupuncture. Like it's tough. It's tough going, man. And like because it's so like grinded on your body as well. Like no matter how I have a video up on my TikTok and Instagram. Sort of one of my biggest videos that is the negatives of FIFO. Like there's loads of negatives to it. Like it's yes, you're getting paid well, but like it's tough going. So I recommend anyone who's like thinking about it or wanting to go it, like you need to really like weigh up. Can you actually see yourself doing this? And like, is this actually like a viable thing? Like, can you picture yourself working 12 hours a day for 2 weeks in a row? No breaks. So like, no matter how tired or sore or whatever you are, you need to get to bed soon because your alarm's going off at 4 a.m. the next day, and it's just back into that day of roasting hot heat, super dusty and like super harsh conditions. The flies, man, are bastards. They're bastards.
Their heart is broke.
I am yet to kill one, man. They're like ninjas. I don't know. They're ninja flies. Have not killed one ever, and I don't think anyone has. They're wee bastards, man. So they are horrible. So like the working condition is hard, but then you get paid. I was getting paid weekly, and then your pay came in at the end of the week, and you're like, whatever it is, I don't care how hard it is. You're earning like fucking $2,000 a week, like every sterling after tax, £2,000 in a week. You're just like, I don't care what I
Yeah.
what I need to do. I'll do it.
I get it done, yeah. And how was like the
Exactly.
Irish community received over there? Like, are they received well, or like the
And
British and the Irish culture, like, do they mix, or?
depends who you ask. I would say depends who
Okay.
you ask. So obviously there's a huge big Irish community all over Australia, in Perth especially, and
Yeah.
the crack, the Irish and the Aussies have like sort of similar crack. Like Aussies, they're loose cannons, as are Irish. People we
Yeah.
love drinking, love taking the piss out of each other, but they like us because we you get told it a lot. Like we're known around the world for being hard grafters and hard workers. So like they
Yeah.
appreciate that and they respect that, and there's a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of sort of like locals in Australia that don't want to do FIFO and don't want to do mining. So like the companies need to hire foreign people to like. Obviously, it's like I would probably say like up on site, it would be probably 65% would be Aussie or and Kiwi, and then it'd probably be like 35% would be foreign. And in that 35%, I would say 60% are Irish. I would say out of that chunk, and then it's mixed up with like English and friggin' Dutch and German and all that kind of crack.
Yeah.
But like Irish would probably be the next biggest like foreign group of workers over here. Generally, like, we're received well, I would say. But then if you ask like the older kind of more traditional like Aussies, and like the way just people get on about immigration, oh, you're coming over and taking our jobs and blah blah. Like my response always to them is like, if more of you local Australians wanted the jobs, then they wouldn't have to hire foreign people. There's not enough Australian people want to work. So
Yeah.
then we're able to come over and see dollar signs in our eyes and be like, right, we'll work. So it's like a catch-22, but mostly, obviously, we love a party and we like going out and we like taking the piss out of each other and we work hard. So like on the whole, we're seen as good, but you will just get our sour bastards every now and again, just saying like, "Oh, you're coming over and taking our jobs. You're taking our jobs away from Australian families and blah blah." You get that a little bit, but like it's me personally, I'd probably say it's like 90 or 85% very positive, and then 15% dickheads. But you're gonna get dickheads anywhere around the world.
That everywhere. And
Yeah.
how did you become a TikTok FIFO influencer? Like, what's the background behind that?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know how it happened. So I'll tell you the story. So just like whenever I was coming over to Australia and told all my friends and family that I was getting into FIFO and like wanting to do that, and they're like, "What the fuck's that?" And whenever I started to do it, they were asked. I was just getting messages from grannies and grandas and aunties and uncles and friends, like, and all over. And people were asking me, "Oh, I've heard about you moved to Australia, started to do this mining FIFO thing. Like, what's that?" And whenever I got there, like I was saying before, like I was thrown at the deep end completely. Hadn't a clue about anything. I'd never seen big mine sites. I'd never seen big, massive machines. And like, man, these machines are giant. They're like,
Yeah.
see the trucks and all, man, it's like a house with wheels on it, and the wheels are like way over my head height. Like I just stand beside them. See,
Yeah.
one tire, mate. One tire for the dump trucks costs 60 grand, and there's six tires on a truck, and we had a fleet of probably about 15 trucks. So like the amount of money, mate, is wild. Is actually mind blowing. Even just like thinking back to it now, like it's nuts. It's so nuts. So everything was big machines, big tires. All the landscapes were real cool. It was like being on Mars. Everything was red, everything was dusty, everything was rocky. But like I'm into landscapes and geography from remember like studying geography back in uni. Yeah, and like everything was just cool and crazy to me. And I was like, "Fuck, this is class. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Nothing like I'd ever seen before. Just like a deer in headlights, just freaking look around, being like, what the fuck is this place?" And so I just started making it like taking little videos of just machines and landscapes and just all crazy shit. And then because I had so many people asking me about what are you doing, how are you getting on, blah blah, what's this FIFO mining thing, I started just posting up little like videos on TikTok. And I had a couple like mountain biking videos on there, like surfing videos, like nothing like trying to push anything at all. Just started to like use that as like a little sort of place to keep videos so I can show friends and family like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then mate, just a couple of them. Well, the very first one I did that was big was the room tour. Was just like show, because people were asking me what's accommodation like, what's like show us where you're sleeping and all that kind of stuff. So I just made a little video, mate. Like whenever I landed on the site, went around the room, you get your key and you get set, right, Cal, you're in room, whatever. Go and got your key, went to the room, open your room, you get into the room, it'll be a bed, a TV, a fridge, very basic, very small, but like honestly, everything you need. Like I thought it was grand. A wee ensuite with a nice powerful shower because you're stinking all the time. A bog there, and that was just your little room. So I just made a little video like showing what the room is. Right, this is the fridge, this is the bed, here's the whatever. I posted that video, mate, and I went to dinner. I remember it. I went to dinner, and no joke, mate, within like a couple of hours, I maybe had like 80,000 views on it or something, or 90,000 views, and I was like way like all my other videos that like I was like showing my like friends and family were like a couple of hundred or whatever. So I was like, it was never a thing of like I wanted to do this or whatever. And so that first one went mental of the room. And then after that first one went mental, I knew a big one that people would be interested in was how much money I was earning. Because people were like, my friends and family were asking me how much money you're earning, how much money could I earn if I was to come over, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that video would get a lot of traction and get a lot of interest. So after that big room one happened, or the tour of the room happened, I then the next day I did the video talking about how much money I was earning, and like I was super transparent. This was exactly how much money I was earning. This is how much I was getting paid in tax. This is how much I was taking away. This is what I'm earning. And that video, mate, I remember posting it at Smoko, which is at 10 a.m. And because whenever you're at site, like you don't really get any signal. So where we're eating Smoko, like at the little like offices and shit, there's an internet router there. I left my phone at the router like to like upload the video, and then I just took my phone, went away, and started doing my normal serviceman like routine. And whenever I drove past whenever I remember like driving past the offices again, and then like there was I think there was like we were waiting on a dozer like coming over to us like to like get in this like nice area so we can like do all our top ups of fuel and whatever. And I looked at it, mate, and it was like it was 30.6 thousand, and that was 30.6 thousand views, and that was no joke, mate, in probably about 2 hours. And by that time I like got back to my room and like got on the Wi-Fi and all, it was on like I don't know three or 400,000. So it was wild, like so mental. And then literally just from that, man, I just had like an absolute tsunami of messages from people wanting to know just all the general kind of questions that people have. How do you get in? What tickets to be getting? How do you be applying? Where do you get like all that kind of stuff? Every question was generally asking us the same around thing. The biggest question I was getting was, "Hey Cal, I've seen your stuff on TikTok. That looks really cool. I'm over in the UK. I'm over in Ireland. Want to come over and do it? I have no idea where to start. What do I do?" That was like generally what I was getting, and I was trying to reply to as many people as I could, trying to give everyone the time of day. Was sending little voice notes back, like answering everybody's questions. And I just could not keep up. I was like getting home from work, getting my dinner, and just trying to spend like an hour and a half each night trying to reply to people. And as soon as I woke up the next day, I'd have another 300 messages on my TikTok and Instagram. And I was just like, I want to like tell people, I want to like encourage people and like tell them how to do it or whatever, but I just could not keep up with the demand. And and while I was doing that, I was like, I'd be trying to make more little videos as well. So that's like sort of like talking about the messaging. But like whenever I was at work that day, I'd be trying to think like, right, what is like one of the main questions I'm getting from people? And I'd be trying to think of the structure of how I was going to make the video that night. So I'd get home from my work. This was sort of whenever I was like in my little like hustle kind of like growing phase at the very beginning. Yeah. So whenever those like two did real big, I was like, right, need to try and keep up this momentum. So I literally would have got home from my work from a 12-hour shift, completely stinking, dirty, hadn't even got a shower or anything, and just had the idea in my head, right, that today I'm going to talk about what tickets do you need, or what today I'm going to talk about what jobs people can get. And then I would have like had all that in my head. I would have made like little notes on my phone if I could, like at lunchtime or at Smoko. And I would have just got back from my shift, set my phone up like on a bottle, and then like that had like real like good lighting like in the little room, and I just set my phone up and then just would have started to make the video answering the question. And after that, I then like would listen back to it whenever I was getting a shower. So it was all stinking, all dirty. Took the video, was just made a little video, and then I just would have replayed it while I was having a shower, and then thinking like, right, I need to take that bit out and rambling there, or like this needs to be moved there, and sort of just trying to like structure like in my head. And then as I was then went to dinner, I would be listening to it in my headphones. I was just listening to it over and over and over again, trying to like cut it way down and sort of making it a bit more like nicer to watch. And then I would have like got back from dinner that night, had it all edited, had the caption ready to go, and saved as a draft. And then the next day, whenever I was at Smoko, having that like lunch break, I would have left my phone beside the little room where the Wi-Fi router was, and I would have let it upload. And then by that time I would have got home, I would have had another idea and would have made another video. and there was one swing for 3 weeks, and I was hustling hard. I was not. People would enjoy their nights off and they would go and drink and chat to each other. I went back and made videos. That's like what I did, and yeah, paid off. So that's
Yeah,
sort of like
definitely.
how it happened, and just trying to keep up with the demand of like all the questions coming in. I would just try and like make a video answering sort of the common, most popular questions I'd be getting, and then mate, just trying to help as many people as I could, and not like keep any information or whatever. Just trying to tell people my experience, tell people what I did. This is how I did it. This is what I did. Like, if you're wanting to come over, like, just fucking do what I did, because like most people are not coming over with experience. Yes, obviously people can come over with electrician experience or trade experience or anything like that, but I wasn't. I was coming over from ground zero. So it is possible. It is possible.
And what's the
So, yeah.
plans now for the future? Do you think you'll stay in Australia or will you come back home?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. See, home is home. Home is home for sure.
Yeah.
I know, like some people come over here and they're like, right, fuck Ireland. I'm not going back. I'm going to stay over here forever. I don't see myself doing that. I don't think I'm over.
Okay.
This is more like a money grab for me, to be honest. Like, come over, get working, get like travel like on the weeks off, or go on travel trips or whatever, and I'll probably just continue doing that. So this is like the start of my second working holiday visa. So I've got another full year, and then I've got another full year after that. If I did want to stay on after that, I would have to go for permanent residency, which is a bit complex, and there are a lot of like loopholes that you need to sort of jump through, and you'd need to be looking for a sponsorship, so a company to sponsor you to be able to stay on there longer. But yeah, in terms of like staying there long term, I'll probably stay in Ireland long term, I would say. But I'm now 30. I'm 30. My girlfriend's 33. We're just out on like a big adventure right now, really. But I eventually going to settle back in Ireland, I would say. But we'll probably do like 2 years in Australia, then go over to New Zealand, do some stuff there, then maybe try and go live in the Philippines or Vietnam or something like that for a while, and then like eventually get back to Ireland and like settle down. But like, nah, not before we go on this cool big experience and sort of see the world a bit. But yeah, look, that could change long term, but that's sort of what I'm seeing so far.
Do you know, with the holiday visa, right? You hear people have to go do like regional work, like work on the
Yeah.
farms and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you done that, or do you have to do it because you're a FIFO?
So
or how does
yeah,
that
so FIFO does count towards your regional work. So like,
okay.
I made a video recently there about which passport is it better to come over. People from Northern Ireland, we can come over on a British passport or an Irish passport, right?
Yeah.
And my girlfriend is Irish as they come, but I told her she had to get a British passport, because to move over to Australia, a British passport is better. So put your political beliefs and whatever you believe in like aside. To come over to Australia, you want to be on a British passport if you can. Obviously, people like, if you can't get a British passport, then this doesn't apply to you. But if you can get a British passport, it is better to come over on that, because there is a trade agreement with Australia and the UK that people with a British passport can come over to Australia and not do any of the regional work. It does not matter. And that rule only came in recently. It came in on the 1st of July 2024. So last year, from that date last year, people on a British passport do not need to worry about regional work whatsoever. So if my girlfriend came over on her Irish passport, she would have to do the regional work. So you have to do what's known as regional work. It has to be some kind of work in a specified industry. Mining, like on FIFO, like counts as that. And there'll be like fruit picking, and there's like fishing. There's all these like different things you can do, but you have to like sign off your regional work to be eligible to apply for your second year visa. And then see, whenever you're in your second year visa, you then have to do 6 months of regional work to be eligible to apply for your third year visa. But if you're coming over in a British passport, you do not need to care about regional work at all. So you hear about people like doing farm work and fruit picking and all that kind of shit. They're only doing that to be eligible to apply for their second year visa. That's the only reason they're doing it. Some people obviously like doing it, like think it's a cool experience, but like you need to do that to get your second year visa. But if you're on a British passport, you don't. So that's why like people, if you can come over in a British passport, that is what they're doing. So it's called your 88 days regional work. So that's why you hear people talking about regional work. That's what it is. It's to get your to be eligible for your further visas.
Yeah. And going right, so if someone was looking to kind of make the move over, right, what advice would you give them before they make the move?
I would definitely say do as much research as you could. I know some people completely come over and they can wing it, and they come over with not that much money, but like, you would not want to come over here and run out of money. Like, you'd be up shit creek without a paddle, and like you would be freaking out, run out of money, thinking you're going to have to go home. Like that does happen to people. Like 100% does. But like I would definitely recommend bring more money than you think you need. I came over with 5.5 grand, but see, and the house prices and shit like that, even from whenever I started, like 2 years ago, are higher. So I came over with 5.5 grand, but like try and bring over like I'd say 6, 7, or 8. Like try and be as comfortable as you can. Sterling that is, and just to do as much research as you can. I'd recommend a lot of people would go over to the East Coast and do like that East Coast like travel trip, like from Sydney to Cairns or whatever it is. I didn't give a fuck about that. I wanted to come over. I wanted to get working. And if you're wanting to come over and just get your head down, sack off that East Coast trip and just get your head down, get a FIFO job as soon as you can, and just rack up all that money. So then you have more freedom and more flexibility with a bit more of like structure, and you have all that money sitting there to then be a bit more comfortable to go and do a trip to Bali or whatever it is, rather than to come over. Mate, see doing that East Coast trip, you'll spend grands, like you really, really will. If you're wanting to do all the skydiving and Great Barrier Reef and Fraser Island and all that like big sort of like touristy stuff over on the East Coast, it costs a fuck, doesn't it? It does. And yeah, people are coming over. Another thing I would recommend, so that little I actually made a video about this recently, that little recruitment agency called Win-Win, they also offer a call consultation. So they do. And pretty much like what I was saying before, you want to, if you're wanting to get into FIFO and you're wanting to go in that direction, you really, really want, because there's so many job roles under the umbrella that is FIFO mining. There's people that can work in utilities, like working in the cleaning and the camp work. People can be fitters and like mechanics. People can be servicemen. People can do like geology stuff. People can do surveying. Like there's honestly there's so many like different roles you can do. But you want to come over and sort of know exactly what like kind of job role that you're wanting to get and what like realistically you could be going for, and also what tickets you need to then hit the ground running. As soon as you know exactly what you're needing to do, and you're not really wasting any time. So that little company, they offer a call consultation, and I've helped loads of people. We'll get on that in a wee bit, but I've helped loads of people come over and like get jobs. And one thing, if I was doing everything again, I would definitely have booked that call with them before I came over here, because I sort of like I have another video that I've did. It was called My Biggest FIFO Mistake. So because I had no experience, I just thought that I needed to get as many like qualifications and like training like tickets as I could to make myself more employable. But see, in hindsight, I wasted loads of money just getting all these millions of tickets that I actually didn't even really need. I just thought I was like adding loads of strings to my bow and making myself way more employable. But I was getting like little tickets to cover so many roles. But if I was like a lot more like of a direction, like, right, I want to get a serviceman role. To get a serviceman role, I need these 4 tickets, right? Go and get those 4 tickets. Do not go and get a ticket for that role, You know what I mean? So that's a big thing, like to know a direction to be going in, and to be getting the tickets to aid yourself in that direction. So anyone who's listening and wanting to come over, I blew that money to give you this advice to before you come over, pick a direction you want to go in, and book the call consultation with Win-Win. If you're wanting to do that, you can go onto my stand store, which is like a little link in my bio for my like TikTok or Instagram. You can scroll down to where it says book your Win-Win call consultation. Like that's how to do it. They'll have like a little 20-minute phone call with you, ask you about your background, ask you what kind of thing you're looking to do, and they'll say like, right, from everything we've spoke about, we reckon you should be going for this kind of role, and to get that kind of role, we recommend you be getting these kind of tickets. And then you also get one of their the resume packages. That'll do up your resume, do up your cover letter. So as you're going away and like getting those resume tickets, getting those tickets that they're telling you to get, they'll be doing up your resume, and then only then you're going to be looking as good and as golden and as shiny as possible, and give yourself like the best opportunity and put yourself in the best position to get one of these roles. Only until then it's sort of over to you to then, like, now you're looking as good as you can, to then now starting to go and apply and trying to do all these little tricks and strategies that are like in my guide, and how I've helped a lot of people to come over and sort of follow those and do all that. So if anyone's coming over, research and those things I mentioned there.
Yeah, you wrote a whole ebook, right, on like how to get into mining, right? Yeah. So if people want to read your book, where can they find it? It's also on your TikTok or your Instagram, is it? Or
it's just in the little bio, like the little stand store link under in my bio, my TikTok and my Instagram. I'm in the process. Like, I should have like a website up and running in the next couple of weeks, months or so. It's like it's working away in the background, but it's not there yet. So yeah, at the minute I'm just it's on a standstill, which is just like a little like holding page where I have all these different like resources to help people get into FIFO. How the wee ebook happened is because whenever I was like doing all this research, I like there was stuff about mining and there was stuff about FIFO, but there like wasn't really that much information on like, right, okay, I'm from overseas. What do I need to do if I have no experience to come over?
Yeah.
And there was no pathway and there was no direction on I needed to do this, this, and this, and this in that order to give myself the best chances. So whenever I started to get all these millions and millions of messages of everyone sort of generally asking the same kind of stuff as I was saying before, I was then like, right, I'm instead of like answering all these millions and millions and millions of questions that I'm getting, I'm just going to make this little like document ebook with like all my recommendations, all my like advice, and try to make it as good and as detailed and as well or as easy to read and as well structured as I possibly could. To like whenever people are asking me like how do you get in or what do you do, I'd say just go get that, just follow that through. And I've sort of like slowly like been editing it and updating it like as I've gone and I've got more information. And yeah, it is literally like I'm pretty much just like telling you exactly how to move over to Australia from overseas and get into FIFO. I start from the very beginning, from before you even leave your home country, before you even leave Ireland or the UK or whatever you are, to what to be doing before you leave, and then everything to be doing whenever you land, like how to set up all your admin stuff, loads of stuff, and then everything to do with the whole FIFO recruitment process. So every little thing that you need to do in order, just if anyone's wanting to come to Australia, just get that little guide and follow it through, and that's exactly what to do. So I'm literally telling you like how to do it. So yeah, that's how the ebook come. And mate, see I see whenever I was making it, it was tedious and long, and like it took a long time to do. And I was thinking like, oh, if this helps like one or two people like get a job, it would be well worth it. I mean, it has went way better than very good. I had no idea that it was like such a wanted thing for people to come over and like get into FIFO. I had no clue, mate. I honestly did not. And then just I thought that of that little gap of like there's not really any little guide on how to exactly move over to Australia and get into FIFO. Like that didn't exist. So whenever they were asking me all these little questions, I was like, right, I'm just gonna try and add that to the book, and anyone that is wanting to come over, they can just get that little guide and follow it through from the beginning, and that is exactly where to be focusing your efforts, what to be doing, and how to do things. Because it is a bit of a process, and you need to do this thing before you do that thing, and you need to do that thing before you do this thing, and it's sort of a bit of a process to it all. So it's just anyone needs all the information in one easy to follow document, and it's just all there and easy to read, and has little hyperlinks and shit like that, so you can just click on the link and bring you to the right place and tells you pretty much what I did. And I've personally helped hundreds of people come over here and get jobs. It's mad to think, but it's all just sort of like came organically. But yeah, that's sort of a little story of how the guide happened.
That's it. Just a quick one for you as well. Do you know the tickets, right? When you're saying like just focus on a specific area, what's the cost of doing a ticket? Like, is it a couple of $100 or is it like thousands?
It depends. So the HR license that I was telling you about before, your HGV license, it costs $1,250 to get your HR license. Okay. So that's like 600 quid. 600 quid. Yeah. If people are wanting to do like operator tickets, like if they want to come over and they want to learn how to drive a digger or how to drive a dozer or how to drive one of the big machines, that will be a couple of thousand. Okay. So well, and that'll be like a 2-day course or a 3-day course or whatever it is in one of these training facilities that are over here. But there are like little ones you need to get. There's like the white card, which is like known as like your construction card. Anyone that's wanting to get into like do any kind of construction work, you need your white card. That is only $100, like 50 quid. Okay. So like they're really ranged. Yeah, exactly. So my girlfriend, she's booked in tomorrow to do her confined spaces, her working at heights, and her gas testing. She's able to do all three of those in one day, and that's costing us $400. So that's like 200 quid. So like it really varies of like how big the ticket is or how long it takes you or whatever, like how much it costs you. But Steve, talking on cost, see for like me the amount of money I invested to like get this FIFO job, I would say was probably around £2,200, £2,300. That was to like get my resume all done up, get all the tickets that I needed, and like just everything invested to like get me a job was about 2,200 or 2,300. But like that was in my budget whenever I came over here, because I was like knowing that I wanted to get a FIFO job anyway. So I was like, right, this is my how to get a FIFO job little fund.
Yeah.
So whenever I needed to get anything, that was like already sitting there. So yeah, it does cost a decent amount, but see, like you can literally make back that investment that you've made to get your FIFO job in no joke, mate, a couple of days of working. a couple of days of working. So if it's in your budget, like it was in my budget, I would far rather invest in how to do it and sort of all the tickets I need to get and make myself have the best chance possible. Get your resume and all done up. Buy my little guide that I'm telling you exactly how to do. Like all these little things to like put yourself in the best opportunity to get one of these roles, because you'd far rather make the investment and like get the job way quicker than trying to get the job by yourself with no help at all and take forever. Because the amount of money you're going to spend on getting like living and food and transport and all that kind of shit, like your money will deplete quickly. So so you want to try and get a job pretty soon.
Perfect. And if anyone wants to find you on socials, is it the same across all platforms, or what's your socials?
Yeah, no, same across all platforms. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. All the same. It's all Cal McIlwaine _ FIFO. So if you just type in Cal McIlwaine, it'll probably just be the first one. First one you see. Yeah, it'll be me in like an orange shirt. I'll be looking like this, like that, an orange shirt, and that's all my socials. People can reach out. If anyone's wanting to message me, I would rather people message me on Instagram. So because I'm still getting like all these millions of messages. On TikTok, it's so annoying because I can't send. For replying, I would far rather send voice notes back to people because I can just talk way quicker than typing everything out. So if anyone's wanting to reach me, I just try and point everybody towards Instagram so I can send you a little voice note like answering your question. So yeah, the people on TikTok and all, I just try and like divert them to a thing, because if I'm sitting there typing out to every TikTok reply, I'd be there forever and ever and ever. You know?
Okay, yeah. So Instagram, if anyone wants to reach out to you, so
yeah, exactly. And also the YouTube. So this big travel trip that I went on, I'm sort of hoping to like see the amount of like footage I've got from GoPros and drones and like all this like crazy shit from my big like travel trip. That is all on hard drives. I have 3 hard drives full of scuba diving, skydiving, mountain biking, surfing, like all this like cool shit from my big travel trip that I'm.
You need to get that all on.
I need to get that all up, but man, it's so tedious and long, and like I don't know how to do it. So it's sitting there. I know there's a gold mine, but I'm like looking forward to starting to like post all that like travel stuff, because I was doing all like crazy shit whenever I was traveling. I know people will love it, and people were like, whenever I was like away traveling, putting up stories and stuff, people were saying, make more of these. So like it's in the pipeline. It's just, so subscribe to my YouTube because it's all going to be there. But it's just not ready yet.
Look, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate